Okay, now let's work on our next simulation, the small bubbles. Let's maybe we'll name these big bubbles. Let's call this vel, because that's what we're doing. In here, we don't need the color, the flame, or temperature. We just need density and velocity. We'll keep the density. We only need density to visualize it here. In fact, we'll delete the density after, like that, and drop a null. Okay, and then call that out vel. So that's where we will get our velocity there. Okay. So our next pop network. So create a pop network, and the skull is what we will need. We need it unpacked. Bring it across. We need another delete. We could take it from there, but I'm not gonna do that because before the delete, I want to add a rest. Well, before I do that, I'll explain why the rest in a minute. We're going to be adding some noise to this. Okay, so let's drop a attribute noise. And that's randomizing the color at the moment, but we want to randomize or create a density attribute and randomize it, which will be a float, not a vector. Okay, and then you can see it. Oh, I've already got mine created, but if you don't, then come here and just click on density there. Okay, and then you'll see. And then, so this is values between 0 and 1. I want values between -1 and 1. I'm going to uncheck that and check enable remap ramp, because I want some values everywhere. So I'm going to set that to 4. And then I want to bring my element size down, but that's 0.4 as well. Cool. So at the moment, the skull is kind of traveling through that noise field. So, and I don't want that, right? So I'm going to drop a time shift here. Just delete, delete channel. There we go. And a rest position. Plug that in there. So that gives me the rest position on the first frame. Okay, and then if we use that rest instead of the current position, then the noise field doesn't change. Okay, you see it's staying static there, which is perfect. However, I do want some animation, but I want, control over that. So we just check that on there. And we have a little bit of movements there. Great. So, and that's before the delete, because we got changing topology there after the delete. So then we'll drop a scatter. And we're going to scatter by density using that density attribute. So you can see that there. And I don't want to force total count. I want, control of it here. So push that up 500,000, lots of points. Good. And want to animate this, so at the beginning we'll have 5,000, and just like the scale of the other points and of these spheres here and the quantity, we want to animate this so it goes down, just like before. Okay, and go to maybe like 2 seconds to 48 and drop this down to 1000. Okay, and then alt click there. So we'll have less points towards the end of the simulation. Okay, lots at the beginning when we splash into the water, and then less towards the end. Great. I also want to merge in these spheres here, these ones. Okay, and we'll want to scatter onto them. Scatter some points. Let's bring this whole thing down like that. But I don't want to scatter too much here, just like 100. So kind of 1 or 2 per bubble per frame. Which is good. Go back to the start. And let's see, go inside here. Okay, delete that. Let's just see what we get now. So not much. That's because we are trying to scatter onto the surface. We want to scatter all points. Okay, so it's not some of the points. I want every single point to emit a point per frame. So there we go. So they're doing something, but not much. So there they're picking up the velocity, which we don't want. I want to control that velocity myself. So I'm going to turn that off. Okay, so there shouldn't be any movement in the points now. Okay, and let's drop a gravity so they kind of have some upward motion again. Oh, need that going in the opposite direction. There it goes, way too fast. Drop that down. Great, and then I want that same kind of drag thing that we did before. So I'm going to go and copy that from here, since we've already done that once. Control V, paste that in. Okay. Good. I think a bit more drag here. Since these are smaller bubbles, they should be traveling more slowly. Let's give it a bit more variation as well. So obviously we need to be bringing in the advection. So pop advect by volumes. Plug that in. We are using the vel field, and let's go and find that SOP. So out vel. And I don't want to do update for, so I'm going to try this. Well, we can try them all and just kind of play around and see which one looks better. Not very interesting, that one. No, let's try. Update velocity. Okay, great. Looking much more interesting. Get these kind of nice trails coming off the big bubbles there, which looks really nice. So let's go back, and next we'll be, getting this ready to go into our render.